Liberia, Myanmar, and the United States. Now, what do these three countries have in common? Well, they're the only three countries in the world that have still not changed over to the metric system. This is kind of strange considering that nearly the entire world uses the metric system as their primary form of measurement, while we here in the United States still just use imperial units. I believe that the United States should change over to the metric system and finally get with the times. Why do you think we should do this? Well, I've got three main reasons why. Number one, nearly every single country in the world has already adopted the metric system, and it is used for international commerce, so you've already got to know this if you're dealing with international affairs or trading. Secondly, it is used in the fields of science and medicine, which are international. And third, learning conversions is a lot easier in metric units. So according to Statista.com, 95% of countries in the world use the metric system as their standard system of measurement. This is kind of embarrassing for the United States because the US is one of the largest and most developed countries in the world, yet they still use the outdated imperial units when nearly everyone else uses the metric system. And in 1975, the US actually did declare the metric system as the preferred system of weight and measurement, but the system never really caught on, as you can probably tell, as most people still use imperial units in their day-to-day lives in the US. It is also standard in the fields of science and medicine, so if you're someone in the United States, you learn imperial units like feet and miles when you're growing up, but then when you try to get a job in one of those fields, you've got to learn the metric system because that's what the rest of the world uses. There's really no real need to learn two. Also, converting in imperial units is really convoluted. So let's take this example. How many meters are in a kilometer? It's pretty simple. It's just 1,000. Now, how many feet are in a mile? That is 5,280. Not really an even or easy to remember number. And the same thing goes with centimeters in a meter. A nice easy 100. While inches in a foot is 12, which is also not an even number. And it's even simpler if you know the prefixes. So deci actually means 10, centi actually means 100, and so on and so forth. So if you know these, there's no real problem converting. And don't even get me started on converting from imperial units to meters. There's just no real reason to do that if everyone uses metrics in the first place. There are many positive outcomes for the US switching over to the metric system as well. So students obviously won't have to learn more conversions, converting imperial units to metrics. People coming to the United States won't have to bother figuring out how far a mile is or something like that, and vice versa. If you're going to, say, Europe from the United States, you should already know how far a kilometer is. So imagine you're watching an international movie and someone says, "Oh yeah, so-and-so, I saw them 200 kilometers to the east." You're like, "Oh, great. How far is 200 kilometers?" Whereas if you already knew metrics growing up, then you wouldn't have to do that anymore. To help with the US converting over to the metric system, I encourage you guys sign petitions to switch to the metric system so that we can finally get with the times. And also, I encourage you to familiarize yourselves with the metric system and just learn what all the conversions are. And that way you can be not part of the problem, but part of the solution. Thank you.